Has Dave Rubin gone too far? He's on the dark web. No, like that isn't going against someone. Look at Milo Yiannopoulos. That guy's gay as fuck. And he's also part Jewish and foreign. And the press is like, this guy's a Nazi. Like, no one's going to call Dave Rubin a Nazi because he's controlled opposition. And it's like, I'm not just for everybody that isn't controlled opposition. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you have to understand people that are part of this dumb game where it's like, I truly believe the Cathy Newman thing was set up with Jordan Peterson, because that takedown was so unbelievably fun to watch. And it was so legendary at the time for me to watch like everything that I hate in like feminism and leftism and stuff just get annihilated by Jordan Peterson. But this is the thing that always made me feel something was off about it. Why did they upload it? And Jordan Peterson was asked that, and he gave an answer. He was like, they didn't know how bad it was. They thought that they did a good job, eh? That was his response, where it's like, so they do this interview, it wasn't live, and then they upload it to YouTube, and that's what spread it around. It's one thing if it just leaks or it gets on YouTube and stuff like that. No, that broadcast station uploaded the interview, the whole thing, to YouTube. And at the time, I was still a little bit under the Peterson spell, so I just believed what he said, even though it just sounded insane to me. He proposed that those people watch that interview of him and Cathy Newman, and it's like just this epic takedown. And they were like, that was great, and they uploaded it. And that they were so oblivious to what had just transpired. Say what you will about leftists and feminists and all this stuff. They're not like that retarded. Like they're not like, it's one thing if it's like the ink blot test a little bit in certain situations where one group will see something like a debate and see one winner, and another group, because of their their views, see another one. But like that was one of the biggest massacres anyone had ever seen at the time. That shit doesn't get to the light of day accidentally. It's like, and now that I know what I know about a lot of these psychological operations and controlled opposition stuff, that stuff is absolutely real. I would not be surprised if that whole thing was staged, because it made people trust Jordan Peterson. And there's a reason that Vox Day and myself and a lot of people are going after Peterson so strongly. It's not because it's like, I feel like slighted, or I just like hate him, or I'm like trolling him to get him to talk to me. I never want to talk to that guy ever again, ever. And it's because of how dangerous he is now. Like millions of people trust him now. It's kind of like in Donnie Brasco or something, where it's like a guy has to kill someone to be trusted by the mob, and then later you find out it was like a faked murder or something. I'll give you an example right now, and this will make you truly understand the horror that is Jordan Peterson, right? Okay, he just posted this on Facebook. He first off, he quotes Salon.com. For those of you that don't know about Salon.com, it normalizes pedophilia. It's the site that had articles like, "I'm a pedophile, not a monster." It's a horror show. Salon.com makes Huffington Post look like Breitbart, right? It's to when people say don't give someone a voice, or don't like when my buddy Dave Smith had on Richard Spencer on his podcast, like people spiraled, like even a bunch of libertarians spiraled. They're like, don't give him a voice, don't give him a platform. And he's like, no, I disagree with him. I wanted to hear him out, and I wanted to like debate him and stuff. And they're like, don't give him a voice. Keep him in the dark. Dude, no one likes Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer is a fucking retard. But like, what is so bad about having someone on that you disagree with, right? Okay, they think that way, right? So like giving a voice, giving somebody credibility. How about quoting salon.com, which now people are like, oh, what's salon.com? And they'll go read and it's like, this is why it's okay to fuck a 9-year-old, right? Okay, and look at what else he does. He says, salon.com says, why do people share conspiracy theories and fake news? Maybe it's the human, quote unquote, need for chaos. And Peterson writes, need for chaos empirically related to radicals' desire to destroy the democratic cosmos order. Who would have guessed? Okay, that's basically a meaningless statement to the point where I view that as a critical statement of conspiracy theories, which I'll get to in a second. Other people are like, he's on our team, idiot. He's criticizing them. No, it's not clear what he's doing. And it's just, this is nonsense. So Salon.com is putting down conspiracy theories. Understand that Jordan Peterson's entire career has been based on him calling out conspiracy theories. Bill C-16 in Canada is a conspiracy theory. So he postulated that the whole law was to create compelled speech and that it was planned. That is the definition of a conspiracy theory. And then they were all like, no, Jordan, we just want to help people just like the law says. And his position was, no, this is a leftist plan to create compelled speech. So Jordan Peterson is the definition of a conspiracy theorist. His fame is based on conspiracy theory. Jordan Peterson and Lindsay Shepherd are right now suing something Laureate University in Canada because of a conspiracy theory. Lindsay Shepherd recorded them secretly reveal a secret plan that they were doing to eliminate any free speech on their college. That's the whole story. She secretly recorded bureaucrats with power explaining what she could or could not say. And then it embarrassed them. They denied it. They said that it was fake or it wasn't real. That's what a conspiracy theory is. So now Jordan Peterson and Lindsay Shepherd are set to make millions of dollars off revealing a conspiracy. And so he says, need for chaos empirically. Empirically means like things you can measure. Need for chaos empirically related to radicals' desire to destroy the democratic, quote unquote, cosmos order. That doesn't mean anything. Who would have guessed? And then random sarcasm. He's promoting an article with, so they're calling Donald Trump a conspiracy theorist. Want to know what the whole thing about conspiracy theory is? Why it's been so demonized and why that phrase is used to make people sound like idiots? You want to know what conspiracy theory is? It means you question the narrative. That's all it means. Like, to say someone's a conspiracy theorist means they are willing to entertain the idea that we're not being presented with the whole truth. To conspire is to secretly hatch a plan. That's all it means. The American Revolution was a conspiracy against Britain. That's a fact. Like, it's all, and a theory means something that you think is true, that you have some evidence for and you're trying to prove. You know, like a hypothesis is more accurate, probably, a conspiracy hypothesiser. But a theorist is someone who theorizes, which means someone who puts forward an idea that they have some evidence for, and it requires some scrutiny and some back and forth. And, you know, that's why there's so few laws in science. It's mostly theories, like the theory of evolution, because they can't prove it. I mean, it's like the theory of so many things because it's not a law. Like gravity's a law. So when someone calls you a conspiracy theorist, all they're saying is you are a person willing to use the data in your life to help better understand secret plans to fuck you over. How dare you, slave? Right? That's all it means. That's what the words mean. That's what the context means. That's all of it. And when you see people not allowed to question narratives, that's the biggest indicator that the narrative has been messed with. the fact that it's illegal to question the narrative around the Holocaust in Germany is a massive red flag. That's a massive red flag. And I'm not supporting any narrative that the Holocaust didn't happen or that it was all just, no, I don't have any evidence for that. All I'm saying is to not be able to question that. Okay, I'll put it this way. How can someone be a victim? You know, and a lot of people make this claim that it's about not victimizing people. It's about not not opening up wounds or creating hate or pushing, because people are vulnerable. That's how they're always appealing to everything. It's like, watch out for the vulnerable. Well, guess what? Speak out against trans kid hormone blockers. Guess what? I actually stand up for vulnerable people, and that's what got me completely kicked out of anything mainstream for the rest of my life. That's what happens when you actually stand up for vulnerable people. And there's no one more vulnerable in this world than children. No one. They are completely dependent on the people that take care of them. Their parents, their step-parents, the state, the teachers, whatever it is. They have no power. They don't have the rights of adults. They're small. You know, there's just no power. That is the vulnerable. What is more vulnerable than an unborn baby? Like, nothing can defend itself less than an unborn baby. Like, an unborn baby can't even realize it's being attacked. And yet questioning the abortion epidemic we have in America is seen as hateful. Even if you're pro-abortion or whatever, you can't make an argument that's at all reasonable that an unborn baby can protect itself. That's the most vulnerable thing in the world, right? So here's something to think about. If you have enough power where you can make it illegal to question you, are you vulnerable? Of course not. If the Jews, if questioning the narrative of the Holocaust actually hurt vulnerable people, you would be able to do it. Because vulnerable people don't have the relationship to people with power to get laws passed that will take someone's freedom and put them in a little cage and take all their money and take away their ability to have a gun and take away their ability to have a job because they questioned you. That is like Middle Ages level king power shit. And so you know for a fact that the actually vulnerable cannot afford lobbyists. They cannot make laws where if you question them, you go to jail. In fact, it's the exact opposite. If you question the Planned Parenthood budgets, not only whether or not abortion should be legal, but whether or not the government should have the force to steal money from the population of people that believe it's murder, to pay for like millions and millions and millions of killings of the most vulnerable people that theoretically could exist. That or someone in a coma. And that's what Jimmy Savile did. Jimmy Savile used to rape high needs children in comas because evil preys on the vulnerable. That's one reason why I'm surviving fairly well these days, because I learned that lesson, and I learned the best way to fight these people, the best way to survive, the best way to thrive even. How many people right now? Over 4,000 people are watching me just chat and miss, throwing wood into my fire on New Year. Most of us are like hungover. We're just hanging out. Why are they a little scared of me? Why aren't they coming at me as hard? Why are they just ignoring? Why? Because they require you to be scared of them. I didn't realize how evil these people were. They act exactly like a sexual predator of children. A sexual predator of children first requires that the child be scared of them, the child be vulnerable, the child trust them, and then the child to love them. And then the child to feel a never-ending amount of shame that will shackle their ability of doing anything to empower themselves ever again. Sound familiar? It's the exact same way that they hold power. That's how a sexual predator of children operate. They look for broken homes. They look for families where there's a single mom that is always at work and there's no male role model. There's no male. There's no, and they're usually poor. They're usually struggling. And the man, the predator, is in the position of power. So with status, because the single mom is so, desperate and so beaten down and tired and frantic and frazzled that when a man with status or power takes interest in her son and says, he's a good boy, I want to spend time with him, she eats it up. Like, no, just eats it up, loves it. And she doesn't want at that point for anything to be true. So then if the boy says, well, I know you love him so, and this is the tragic thing, guys. This is the thing that drives me insane. Is like, the boy then loves his mom so much and wants to see her happy that he doesn't want to ruin it for her. So as the child is being raped by this man with power over and over and over again, the main reason he doesn't tell his mom is because he doesn't want her to be sad, right? It's unbelievable. That's what drives me so insane, is the primal good in children of like, they want their mama and their dad. Like when me and my wife, Amy, are like being like real affectionate and funny with each other and just like hugging and kissing and being funny, Walter just loves it. He loves when mama and dad are happy. And so then when this man with status and power preys on the broken child, not the broken child, the broken home that is now creating a broken child, even if the kid says something, even if the kid's like, is it bad if he makes me look at his thing? The mom will say, you're a liar. How dare you? You're just saying that for attention. Because she doesn't want to give up that male in the child's life, and that's why a lot of it are priests and teachers and experts and authorities and celebrities and people with control, the director of children's movies, stuff like that. Rabbis, there's the whole thing with rabbis. Because it's like, how dare you go against Jimmy Savile? He's been knighted by the Queen. And that's how it operates. You'll never see, like, if there's a law that says you can't question a group, that group is not vulnerable. And people that sexually prey on children, they are the ones that a lot of times act like victims too. They're the ones that are like, well, I need a little help here. Will you just, it's so obvious now to me. And it's like, I'm glad I know this shit, but it is a little intense, And that's why the moon thing I fixated on. In 2018 was about two things: the word nigger and the moon. And it's been so funny watching my buddy Eric react to me about the moon, because I had a song called "That Nigger Stole My Bike," and like so many of these people were like, "Yeah, it's free speech, Eric. Come on." And it's not a racist song. It's funny as hell. And and it turns out that nigger's white. And Trudeau stole my rights. It's like, it's funny. And it's based on Mike Tyson's Punch Out anyway. And he was, thought I was being a dick, but he was cool with it because he's a cool dude. But he's like, at no point was he like pumped about the song. And his last name's Nimmer. So people are like, where's Owen's bike? They do that joke like thousands of times to the point where it may make him snap. But now that like me questioning the moon landing is making people be like, I just can't do it anymore, Owen. Like, this is not what I signed up for. And Nimmer's just dying laughing. He's like, what about the bike song? And they're all like, but that's free speech. And he's like, this motherfucker is just asking if we went to the moon. He's saying that nigger stole my bike for fucking months and you guys all defended it. And he loves it. And it's the same with like the Jew stuff. It's like one of my friends was because I was laughing at the parentheses thing, how people put 3 parentheses around like someone to like say they're Jewish, and then you guys started making it funny where it's like where it'd be like credit score or like couch or like Jesus with the parentheses. I think that's funny. And I was like saying that, and one of my Jewish friends was like, you know, sent me this whole link about like the history of it and Jew hate around it. And this whole time I'm just always dying laughing, thinking about Nimmer be like, what about the song that everyone was fine with? It's a little cold to play the song right now. Yeah, like parentheses around bagels. It's funny. Like, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Hang on. It's like, dude, everybody gets made fun of in my world. And it's like, I'll question whatever the hell I want. And it's like, I'll give you a perfect example. You know, if someone said, I'll show you, I'll just play a little. Hang on. That nigga stole my bike. It's just funny, right? Just like the parentheses thing. And it like, here's the thing about vulnerable populations. All right, you know, if someone said something like, oh, I Jewed him down. Like if someone's like, oh, the car was 20,000, but I Jewed him down to 10,000. People would react is an understatement, right? People would seriously, like, by the way, the people in control would love that shit because it would be like some weird proof that everybody's like a Nazi or something, and they'd keep the ability of not ever being criticized. The fact that criticizing the Federal Reserve is called anti-Semitic is so funny to me because not only is it ridiculous that you can't criticize people printing fake money that aren't elected, they're admitting it's Jewish. It made me laugh when I used to call people soy boys. I still do sometimes, and people called it homophobic. I'm like, dude, you just admitted soy's gay. Like if you call someone a soy boy and they're like, that's homophobic, that's so funny. It's the same with criticizing the Federal Reserve being anti-Semitic. It's like, oh, so it is just all Jews. It's hysterical.